There's more to the right beneficiary IRA strategy than just following the IRS's guidance. In this video, I'm going to walk you through a scenario with a client of mine who's making the most out of her inheritance with this strategy. I'm David Sedia. I'm the founder of FedWise Advisors. I've spent the past decade helping federal employees make wise financial decisions. Let's talk about my client's situation and what you can learn from it. For confidential purposes, let's call her Sue. Sue recently inherited an IRA from her mom who was 82 years old. Her mom was taking required minimum distributions, and Sue is 60 years old and is planning to retire at 62. She is also planning to wait until 67 to draw her Social Security. Sue is in the 24% tax bracket and also lives in a state that has a 6% state tax rate. Sue has $200,000 across her various bank accounts and CDs, and she also has $1 million in her traditional TSP account. She had to withdraw all of the funds immediately, then after a quick Google search, learned that she could actually spread it out over 10 years. Turns out both of those are actually wrong. Under the Secure Act of 2019, non-spouse beneficiaries have 10 years to empty funds from a inherited IRA or Roth IRA. But here's the tricky part. If the original owner had required minimum distributions from their account, then the beneficiary also has to make sure that they continue taking those distributions each year. However, if you're an eligible beneficiary, then the 10-year rule does not apply to you, and that would apply for somebody who is someone like a spouse. Now, Sue was right about the 10 years that the funds must come out over that time frame, but it doesn't need to evenly come out each year. She can pick and choose when she might take more, which could be layered in the years where she has a lower income. Let's talk about the strategic opportunity for Sue. However, since she has enough money in her bank accounts, she doesn't need to touch her retirement assets. This means during her retirement gap, or between 62 and 67, she has a tax planning opportunity since her income is going to stay low. We can capitalize on this by choosing when Sue takes a larger distribution from the beneficiary IRA. For example, we would take just the beneficiary IRA required distribution amount at 60 and 61, and then at 62 to 67, we would take a larger amount. This avoids waiting until Social Security begins when Sue might potentially be pushed up into a higher tax bracket. To take this a step further, during those low income years, we're also planning to do Roth conversions. Since Sue has enough non-retirement assets to live on during this gap period, we're going to use the beneficiary IRA distribution to actually pay the taxes on the Roth conversion. In her case, we're going to be converting $100,000 to Roth. So what we do is we would move $70,000 from her traditional IRA to the Roth IRA. And then what we would do is with the remaining $30,000, take that from the beneficiary IRA and have $24,000 of it go to the IRS for federal taxes, and the remaining $6,000 go for state taxes. This gets more money into her tax-free growing accounts and is overall going to be more beneficial and tax efficient. Sue's situation shows how important it is to integrate a proper tax planning strategy. Without this, she could have missed a huge opportunity and paid more taxes than she had to. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, please subscribe to my channel where I help federal employees try to make the most out of their retirement.